It's a Thursday and we are here again at 5 minutes past 6 o'clock. Good evening to you, Dumelan Sanibonani, Abushene Leperil. And tonight, it's Let's Talk Justice, brought to you by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, as well as the Government Communication and Information System, a great partnership with the community radio stations across the country. And this is episode 10 of our Let's Talk Justice. And tonight, we are talking about access to justice. This is aligned to the week where access to justice has been emphasized by the department, and they are all over the country trying to explain various opportunities of how you access our justice system, as it happens to be one of the most probably acceptable kind of constitutions in the world. I don't really actually like saying it's the most beautiful constitution, because what's beautiful about a constitution if it doesn't work for people? You see? So if it does work for South Africa, it is one of those most accessible constitutions you can ever find. Dumelang Rally Dumerisa. And by the way, the whole point today is to raise public awareness around access to justice. As I've already said, that this is the Access to Justice Week, and also to encourage the public to participate during the Access to Justice Week. And you can only start here as well. We are available at DOJ_ZA on Twitter. We are on Department of Justice and Constitutional Development on Facebook. And also, you are able to call us for free on 0800 142 446. It's a toll-free number if you're using a Telkom landline. However, we have Shanice Madu, who is also one of the producers tonight. She will be able to take your calls if you are using your cell phone, and we will be able to call you back. So we have this for you. And also, we need to educate you as well on various services offered. And I got two lovely ladies on a Women's Month who are definitely going to be talking about access to justice with us. And tonight, I have Advocate Nomvula Mkhatla. She is also part of the South African Women Lawyers Association, which is SAULA. And also accompanying her is Ms. Ntibidi Rampete, who is a director for Gender Directorate. Happy Women's Month. Gender to the power. Dumelang Bagolo, welcome, and it is such an honor for you to avail your time to us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And maybe let's just talk about this access to justice, the Access to Justice Week. Maybe if you can just start telling us a bit where it comes from, and how are South Africans actually responding to this beautiful concept of Access to Justice Week.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Mosoto. Thanks also for inviting us to the studio to come and speak to you and the listeners about the Access to Justice Week program.
Yes.
The program actually started in 2007 in partnership with the South African Women Lawyers Association, as you rightfully said.
Yes.
And over the years, we've also invited other stakeholders, for example, all the Chapter 9 institutions, the CGE, the South African Human Rights Commission, to be part of the Access to Justice Week program. What it does is annually, during the month of August, as we celebrate Women's Month,
yes,
we dedicate 1 week where we provide free legal services to members of our community, focusing on a number of areas, particularly under family law.
Yes.
And we go to different community centers. We go to, when we launched this Monday, we were at Semi-Mark Square. Most of the time also we utilize court spaces to provide the services, and it always happens all over the country.
Yes.
During this week. And also sometimes we do go to malls so we can access more people at the places where they frequent the most.
What do you normally do in these outreach programs?
The outreach is mainly concentrating on educating the public on the services that we offer.
Yes.
And we noted over the years that the number of issues that trouble our community members is around family law. Your issues around custody of children, maintenance, gender-based violence, including domestic violence. customary marriages,
Yeah.
marriages broadly, but also with specific interest
Yeah.
on the issues of how do you dissolve or enter into customary marriages. Also issues around small claims, when somebody owes you small money, how
Yes.
then you get, to recover the monies that are owed to you.
Okay.
Just to name a few, and issues mostly around estate, deceased estate, where if in case where there's no will, then what happens? Because a lot of people are left destitute, children mostly, when the parents are deceased and there's no will in place.
Yes.
So the department also provides services to the public. The officials in the master's office are on call with the team during Access to Justice Week to draft wills for those people who are interested.
All right. Thank you so much for that one. Advocate, I'm going to extend this one to say, you see, in most cases, people look at these things as like access to justice of convenience. If I have a kid and now I got the baby mama drama, now all of a sudden here I am, I'm interested only in law that has to do with kids and parents and all that stuff. How do we encourage people to just holistically look at this thing, to say your access to justice is way beyond your small interest within your small community, your small family, or like for instance, we find people only using the law to take care of their interests. How do you actually encourage people to even like get to understand that access to law is also about helping advocate or helping Mosotho Stone to say, okay, he's having a problem and I know a bit about it. What can you say around access to justice when it comes to that particular point of accessing law based on your personal interests?
Well, the unfortunate part is maybe let me firstly say thank you for bringing us to your studio.
Yes.
And thank the listeners for listening to us, and say that, when you have a problem, obviously you will be personal about it. You would want the help to deal with your problem, and we've got the laws to deal with your problems. We've got policies to deal with your problems. However, what we are doing is we're not only looking at your problem as a person. We are educating the public about their constitutional rights.
Yes.
We have pamphlets. We give them constitutions. We tell them about where they can get that information from.
Yes.
And we're also empowering the lawyers themselves, including... I don't like to use the word paralegal.
Yes.
Just 2 days ago, I come from a conference where I was at pains to say I don't want to be called a paralegal. I'd want to be called a legal practitioner.
Yep.
So we empower such people to be able to help their communities in relation to whatever problems, be it social, legal, and so forth. So we empower everybody out there. So SAULA, including the Department of Justice, is not only looking at the law that is accessible to you,
That's
it's also about empowerment of the lawyers themselves to be able to help you.
Yes.
It's about empowering the lawyers to understand that people in the rural areas, people who can't access justice, be it per telephone or whatever, they need to be empowered to be able to assist the people on the ground. We were talking about getting services 24 hours 7. Have a center where you can call, or even in malls, let's have, like when you get a directory, mawungene mall yabona ucofa leya button ikutshela ukuthi okay iCNA ngakuphi, AP shopping ngakuphi.
Thank you.
We should be able to get to that virtual access to justice as well. While when you get into a court, understand where you need to go, without getting to a problem of asking security. Security is only there to look at your protection yabantu. Yabona ucofa ibutton ikutshela ukuthi icourt ye maintenance ingakuphi, icourt ya commercial ingakuphi, icourt yakuphi ingakuphi, iqala nini, kwenzakalani. Who do you speak to? Which office do you access? Which forms can you access without standing in a queue? Uagcwalise lapho, uashiye lapho, who's going to serve your documents to a particular defendant or respondent for any given matter.
Nice. I like that. I like that very much. Quite very innovative, in fact. And we're living in the world of apps these days. And as you were talking, I already am seeing this DOJ and CD kind of app. Ntibidi. That should be a homework for the DOJ and CD, because Advocate is coming with some quite serious innovations around that one. Anyway, it's 6:15. Tsepo from Klerksdorp is joining us this evening as the first caller. Morena Tsepo. Re tswile le ka morena. Bontle bo so bo phep. Morena. Ke lebogile thata ntate.
The letter of authority.
Letter of?
Letter of authority.
Letter of authority.
Yeah, letter of authority. Letter of authority. And then only to find while a court a house, court in the house,
okay. Where are you based, Abuti Tsepo, at that time? That's right. Okay. All right.
So, you hear a letter of authority. Who could tell a reason? I cannot tell a and so you not to go massacre. 150 kilos. So, I caught the Larry, most of the Cotta and Alamu. We have to talk with the baby. I think it's for we have to massacre over the letter of authority. Why is a Hono could be a Halamudi cotton?
All right.
And then most people know how to respond. Letter of authority. How can a while? Letter of authority. Yako banking, banking, go,
okay.
Why this letter of authority? These I didn't say one because how can I clear letter of authority in Commasiki? I don't have another letter of authority. Had I signed me, since Robert in your heart, since you're isn't the Costa. Since you don't have done like you had to have Commasiki, about 4 courts in the house in one.
Yes.
And then I will continue how to amortize up. Or no, can you not as a can I do? I don't know. If you look at the reason, then when you say you're coming to when I'm not quitting amortize up, that's no way because that's 7. When I go taking the reason, not quitting at the woman, that's no way to do. So some say, Mona, keep distancing and should be a neighbor to one, letter of authority.
Okay. Just before you leave, Tsepo, is there anything that you might want to follow up with Tsepo before I let him go? Advocate Ausin TV, is there anything?
No.
Okay.
You can listen on the radio.
Yeah. Morena Tsepo, I believe you are listening to Live FM, right?
Live FM,
Morenaka. Thank you, sir. Thank you to Live FM. It's based in Klerksdorp. And moving from northwest to Limpopo, Renali Puti. Puti Rawamoer. Hello, Sputi. How are you? How are you?
Justice to access to justice.
Are Sputi. Kana re utlweletswe ke di million tsa Africa boro a re be pila ne ibitswa Access to Justice Week.
So kinya go butsa hore ka ebe ke ile access to justice. Ba Department of Justice ba dirang gore ba fitlhelle dinaga magaeng kudu ka re o fumana batho ba bantsi ba bolela gore o fumana ba tsere motho be ke tlang wa tswa wa sepela mo strateng ke go sure batho ba banya ka gore ba be le information gore motho a tsere di procedure tse di tsamaiwang ke tsa mogutama so be ke nyaka go checka gore ba dirang gore ba fitlhelle dinaga magaeng.
Okay, Ausputi ke lebogile ga go lwa kere o utlweletse radio FM ma ke finye o utlweletse radio FM
ke radio
Moleji FM kwana ga Moleji ga Molot ke lebogile ga kere wa kwa.
Thank you
Ngwaneso. Thank you so much, and we're taking the last caller for this batch. This is Patco go tswa kwa Takalani Radio, Aliwal North in the Eastern Cape. Moranak.
Ntate Stone wa phela.
Ah, ke phetse ntate re ka botsa.
Nami ngiyazithanda Ntate Stone.
Wow,
Ngilebule haholo.
Ke lebile haholo ntate.
Okay, manibulise umama Rankepe nomama uNomvula ngapha. Umbuzo wokuqala ndiyabulisa nami wathinta umama wathinta imbokotho uzofa.
Ewe.
Ke nnete malo.
Uthi umbuzo wami wokuqala bathi benza i-outreach into engingayiqondiyo kwenza outreach ndiyavuma bayazenza kodwa abafikeleli kwezidolophu ezincane kwi-rural areas zenziwa ekuseni ngo-9 abantu abaningi abekho basemsebenzini ingaba ke ngoku in order ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi abantu bafikeleleke bonke funeke bafike mhlawumbi emva kwemini okanye bayenze nge-weekend entwezi enye ye-challenges esinayo leyo. Umbuzo wami wesibini since i-access justice week ndifuna uqonda ukuthi ingaba ke ngoku masithi mna personal ngiphatho ndinomntana njengoba ndinomntana ufumana ukuthi ndiyahamba ndiya ku-office ye-maintenance ndifakwe ku-maintenance xa ndigqiba ufakwe ku-maintenance umama womntana uhlala nomnye utata ngapha each and every month funeke ngoku mna ikhose out imali eye-support ilukuthi umntana lo wami ngoku uhlala nala mama ingaba ke ngoku i-justice ngeyiphi role eyidlalayo in order ukuthi nami ngibe satisfied ngokubona kwami ngoku ndisupport abantu abathathu umama womntana kulaa tata ohlala nomama womntana ibe ngumntana. Ngiyabulela kakhulu Ntate Stone kulamamela uTakalani Community.
Thank you so very much to Takalani. Thank you to Patco. Let me take Lunga because Lunga has been waiting as well. Lunga is in Cape Town. I believe you're in Somerset West. Lunga?
Stone.
Yeah, kunjani pot?
Uphilile
Hayi ndiyaphila man. But vinegar, but my tongue is too Tswana, so I'm going to have cramps if I do that, all right? But you know exactly what I'm saying.
Ndiyakuva Stone. Ndizawukhawuleza Stone.
Please Putwam.
Ndifuna ukuxa ndingena mna ndikhawuleze ndibulela kakhulu kukuva kokubana ke bakhona napha kuTakalani amadoda amakhulu kodwa ke ndilapha kwi-Radio Helderberg. Umhle kakhulu nalo mbuzo usanda uvakala ngoku usuka phaya. Kodwa okona ndibaluleke ndifuna ukwendincokole ngako apha eKapa sinamarasta amaninzi. Ngoku apha enkqubeni ukugqiba kwenu kanye nina sizabe singena kwinkqubo ezabe idibanisa uMasikhandi kunye ne-reggae music.
Yes sir.
Now into eyenzekayo isikakhulu apha sinamarasta apha aye afumane laa nto kuthiwa kukusetshwa ezindlini zawo. Abanye babuya ufumanisa uba bazimvumi njani yonke loo nto kodwa ke kubakho laa nto ubana uMzantsi Afrika siyayazi ubana kunaloo mthi ubekwe ityala ngakumbi ngokoka-government kodwa ke ezindlini zamarasta uyawufumanisa uba loo mthi ulegal. Naw ngoku ndifuna ukwazi into okokubana umthi womya xa ngabe amapolisa esiya okanye ke zathi abazomthetho beyongena bephethe le nto kuthiwa yi-paper of permission for ukusearcha. Ndiyakwela phepha apho ndiyakhona ndifuna ukwazi ukuthi ingaba ela phepha eliya mangabe aba bantu bezokusearcha bangayifumani le nto bebekuzokuyisearcha ingaba zithini i-rights zalo mntu lona ndiyacinga ukuba mhlawumbi kuba mhlawumbi esetshwa ekwistrato iba yi-defamation of i-character uba ngaba mhlawumbi abayifumenanga le nto bebekuyoyisearcha kuba kaloku uyawufumanisa into okokubana nabantu be-community they are also looking at that ke mhlawumbi ke kule family biyosearcha so ndifuna ukuhlala phantsi Stone ndihambe ndiyokumamela kwi-Radio Helderberg silapha eKapa tata siyabulela kakhulu ngenkqubo yethu.
Enkosi tata very much from Somerset West Helderberg Community Radio. Thank you so much. Ladies, quite profound questions over there. And I would like to believe that the questions that are pointed directly to the department will be for Usis yeah. And then when it comes to access to justice concepts, I would really rely on you, advocate, to actually come through for us that side. By the way, I'm speaking to Ausin Tibidi Rampet, who's a director for Gender Directorate at the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. And also, she's accompanied by Advocate Nomvula Mukhatla. She is also with the South African Women Lawyers Association. Yeah, she's a member, and she's basically with the National Prosecution Authority as well. And let's take them in any order that you would like to take those questions, please.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
In connection with his letter of authority.
Yes.
And because tomorrow, the department, le batho ba office ya masters, ba tle ba le ko Klerksdorp Magistrate Court.
All right.
The way a buileng ka teng o gaufi le Klerksdorp Magistrate Court, ke mo rotloetsa gore a ye ko teng ka Mmamoso, a tshwere dipampiri tsa getse tsotlhe. The officials of masters will be there so that they can explain to him why the delay that the letter of authority wasn't issued when it was supposed to have been issued. And happy to add on some of the issues that he raised about accessibility. We're trying to just fill in the gap during this week so that we are aware that our services don't necessarily reach everybody in our society. So re kopa gore at least batho ba rona ba nne le pelo e telele, because something we're putting systems into place.
Yes.
So which court you find yourself, you'll be able to access various justice services. But unfortunately at the moment, dilo tse tshwanang le tsa bo estate di santsane ba rata go di investigate thata go di head office jaaka ba moretsi ba a ye ko Mafikeng. Ra understand gore go buimanyana ka mabaka tšhelete le nako is not always possible for some.
Our people are still very poor to actually afford such
we
kind.
truly understand. That's why ke mo rotloetsa gore if a ka kgona ka Mmamoso a ye ko teng. However, if a sa kgone go access just Klerksdorp Magistrate Court Kamoso, that is the final day access to Justice Week. Unfortunately, he can go to the very same court. On this radio talk show, he heard gore batho ba justice batla amogela di complaint ya gagwe a tladitseng AA based on I can understand access to Justice Week ke 5 days.
Yes.
But the complaints about ga di fail.
It's an ongoing thing.
Yes, even next week we'll still get the overflow tsa batho ba ne ba na le di query, but they were not able to access our service points more in this week. So we normally help them, and and with that understanding, we can still process their complaints.
Osintibiri, just as a follow-up to that, we once dealt with a topic on rationalization of courts. Would you say that also is a process that's going to actually alleviate that particular problem?
Exactly, because how the way the tropa tsa rona ne di demarcation ya teng ele teng ka before. For example, somebody on Nango Deep Sloot, swantse a ye ko court ya Pretoria. How many kilometers from Deep Sloot to Pretoria?
How many taxis?
How many taxis that you have to? Obviously, it doesn't it's not affordable to everybody to be accessing the same court. So that's why we are moving towards, and then we're understanding that the needs of a particular community are such that they must access the courts as and when, with the less kilometers as possible.
All right. And lastly, still entertaining Tsepo and the access to courts and all that stuff. On the outreach programs, is there any mobile justice kind of concept that you're working on? Even if it's not particularly for access to Justice Week, but just on an ongoing basis, is there something like that for people where we get like trucks or maybe joining Home Affairs or all these other people to the Tusong centers? Because I believe DOJ is part of the bigger government, and it gets complemented by people who are going all over the place. Do you sometimes take advantage of such kind of innovations?
We do, and I'm happy that during this Women's Month we're able to then talk to other programs that government, because this is not the only program that we seek to engage the community. You will notice during the month of June, there's also outreach that we do.
Yes.
Obviously, that is targeted towards the youth, because it's the youth month. And then July also being the Mandela month, there are programs that we also do outreach. So it's not only in August that we go and reach communities. September, for example, is the public service month. So there's going to be initiatives that will go out also in communities. During victim empowerment month, we also do outreach. So outreach in government, in collaboration with other government sister departments, is ongoing.
Yes.
It's just that sometimes the marketing of it is not so widespread.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Marketing is quite very expensive, I must say so.
It is,
as a communicator, we need to be doing something about it.
So
but
that's
anyway,
why we want to piggyback on this one to tell you about the public service month coming next month.
Yeah. Anyway, Advocate, let's get into Patco and Puti, because basically they asked quite very profound questions that I believe the country needs to also get to hear something on that one.
Well, if I may just combine all of them in terms of access.
Yes.
Yes, we start in the morning and we use the official working hours. because some of the stakeholders are people who are employed in government and they have working hours. And most of the people that are providing the services and assisting the public out there are women.
Yeah.
And they also have to go home to cook for their children and safety issues as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we have partners, the external stakeholders who are, just to name one, the South African Police Services. But even there, you know, we need to be better coordinated in order to be able to give the service providers the security that they need when they assist the people.
Yeah.
We take the point. We will also look at making the services available at night. I mentioned earlier the 24/7
That's right.
center where you can get information, whether it's per telephone or even in your community. You should be able to get to a particular point or use an app to be able to get to the services.
That's right.
In respect of the searches now, Cape Town, a person is not just searched, yes. You are either searched because you are seen to be committing an unlawful you are engaging in unlawful activity in front of the police person. There's also citizens arrest. They will arrest you, and I call the police and I say, well, this man is doing something which is wrong, and I know that this is unlawful. There are also instances where there is already an investigation. There has been a complaint either from the community or from the complainant to the police station, and there's a current investigation which is registered, and the police will get the search warrant perhaps to come and search your property. We know that the Western Cape is prevalent for drug matters. Gangsterism is quite prevalent in that area.
That's right.
So you find there is a project perhaps that the police are conducting, operation Shiley Strata ngikhipha ama drugs yabo
Yes.
uzoza azo searcha, you know, where aboniswe khona yi-complainant or yi-witness ebonile ukuthi la kufihlwa izinto ezithile bafike bazo searcha. It does not mean if the police don't find anything there that you are violated or whatever, because they have firstly the authority to come and search your property based on the information that they got from the community, which is a legitimate, you know.
But maybe let me just play the devil's advocate a little bit.
Yes,
here,
please do.
Advocate. Hore, in reality, you find a guy, he's got dreadlocks. Immediately what comes to perception, you see, there is a perceptive kind of approach sometimes when it comes to these things, to say, oh, he's got dreadlocks, he's got red, yellow, and green. Now he's a Rasta. He must be having some ganja. You understand? So I think he's talking from that point where he's saying the community, some of the communities, they Rasta in religion and all that stuff. But now they feel that their rights are being violated because he might be going to a shopping mall, going to get some vegetables, knowing very well that most of them don't eat meat. And the first thing that the police would do is like, let me search him for drugs. Simply because he's a Rasta, he's got dreadlocks, he's got red, yellow, and green. And you see, technically, what you're saying is valid. But in reality, how do we deal with such kind of issues where we know that these days it has become a bit fashionable to say police brutality? You understand, sis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me address it this way. You know, sometimes there are perceived fears which are based on prejudices, whether it's prejudices of race, whatever you call it. But then when you are the person who is receiving the treatment, the search that is, you are entitled to ask, why are you searching me? If there isn't a search warrant, there must be a valid reason in terms of the law, because the police don't just search people. It is not in their business to go and search people randomly. There must be a catalyst, whether it's information from the community. You know, sometimes you are in the process of investigating, so you are not maybe there yet, but then you're thinking that in terms of my project right now, I need to go and do a search to secure maybe some information or evidence.
Yes.
It does happen sometimes that you will get wrong information from the community, but it is not the police that initiated that violation to your rights. If there is a violation, it was catalyzed by something that comes from somewhere, a complaint, be it legitimate or not legitimate. So there are people who have perceived fears who will go and be hysterical, go to the police station, come, follow me, come with me, this and that. And then you find there is nothing. Obviously, we are even the victim. If I'm the police, I go there. I'm the victim of this false information, which then made me act in a particular manner in which you're feeling you are being violated because there wasn't a legitimate, as according to you, a legitimate reason for me to come and search you. It's not in the course or scope of the police business to go and randomly search people and violate their personal spaces and so forth. But, you can't wish it away that some people have prejudices, and we need to correct those prejudices. That's why we go out there, the outreach programs where we educate people about their rights. You know what needs to happen when what has happened. And you know what your recourse is going to be. That's so right. With the members of SAWLA, these are lawyers that are out there, be it they work together with the Department of Justice and with NPA. They are there to help you out. If you are feeling that you have been violated and there was not a legitimate case, please do tell us about that and we will assist you.
Yep. Thank you so much, Advocate, for that one. And yes, and also I would also appeal to everybody to say, look, this is not a pure fella kind of grantish kind of thing. You understand? It's up to people to actually take initiative and play a part and play a role. Like, we've opened this platform to say 0800 142 446. It's a toll-free. We put all systems in place to make sure that you engage us. And not only to complain, but to also say, you've been living in South Africa. What has the justice system done for you that is so good? Because I believe there's so many good things that the justice system has done out there. And I would really like to hear from positive South Africans how we do, how we living our daily lives with all these things. All right. I'm not sure who's first. Mhlwa Tupa is coming from Free State in the Senegal. There's a place called Senegal. It's not in West Africa. It's right here in the Free State. Morenaka. Our Retwile Morenaka Gabutsale. Ndadi.
Jale bohe mohlompe ke tseta ho fitela nne ke tseta ho bulela radio ku tsetse hanyane. Kore ke ne ke batla hore nke ke sakele hanyane le teng ke sa tsebeng hore na ke tla be ke tsa le kwetseng ka tsa mohlompe.
Yes. Tswela pele ntate.
Itile hale hantle na o dira bona rona mona mahaeng a rona mo re dilang teng ona le hore o etsa hale hore kore re tsetse maponesa a mangatwang bo kante place tse dingwe bo ke mabere.
Oh, okay. Ubua ka mabere ntate.
Ndadi.
Ba re otla thupa batho ba ntate.
Ntate ska ba bua ka batho.
Ba otla thupa ntate ha ba neng ka rona le moshikashikanyana wa otla ntate.
Ke batla ho botsa hore na ke mosebetsi wa bona ba tsuwe molaong hore ba tsamaye ba go otla fela go ba go otla le ha re le hona thabeleng ja.
Ya ntate.
Ke batla ho tseba yona ntse hore na ba tlametse hore ba go otlela re le ka thabeleng ha ba re tshwara le botsa ho sa utlwise le ke ntse tsa hao ba go otla.
That's right.
Engwe hape ke yona ena e nngwe ntate ke batla ho tseba hore na gore sepolesa se kwale motho ko ga di tsebe se mo kwala ha o etsa eng gobaneng ho tswa sepoleseng re utlwele go thwe gore re tsitsane le sepolesa hore re lwantshe botsotopele ko re ba lometse ya ke e bang re bona tse di tsa hala. So nna se ba teng ke sa ka se utlwilang go sona ona le batho mo ke bontate ba ka ntle ka kwana di bang tsa ba re tsitsa bo nka sa ka re tse ba re tsitsa ja ga ba re tsitsa bogolo bana ba banyane ba tsenang dikolo ne.
Ke bontate ba Sponisa.
Ntate.
Ke bontate ba Sponisa. Okay.
Hona le batho ba hirileng zone ya ka ba re tsitsa matekwane ne.
Okay.
So ha o bitsa bontate ba sepolesa ba tla ba tshware batho ba. Ke batla o itse ke batla o tseba hore na mono o retla re ke eng ha ke khone o re ke ka mamela radio ntate wa.
Okay, ke le buile ha o lo ntate Mhlwa Tupa ka re.
Thank
you, Morenaka. Thank you very much to Ntate Mhlwa Tupa. Let's move to Lunga is back. I think Lunga wants to make a follow-up or something. Is it Lunga first, right? Okay, thanks to... I'm talking to Tate Mazibuko, Linda Mazibuko, as well as Shenin Madu on the other side. They are producing this beautiful program for you. Okay, Butlunga. Bralunga.
Ndetestone.
Muranak.
Ndetestone ndiyabulela kakhulu. Once again ndimvile torho umama xa ebecacisa ukubana sentsho ukuthi amapolisa ilungelo analo wona in terms of ukubana azokwenza inantsikaleni. Ndifuna ukwazi apha ngale family izowusetshwa yona ukubana ingaba mhlawumbi amalungelo wayo athini, because ke ndiyayazi into okokubana kunalama ndifuna andohlulele yena umama kula magama athetha ngokuthi i-defamation of character. Ndifuna ukwazi ukuthi apha kaloku kunefamily mhlawumbi eye uyawufumanisa into okokubana kunabantwana ezifamilini ezikufumanisa uba zisetshwayo.
Yes.
And therefore uyawufumanisa ukuthi abantwana mhlawumbi ke kuye kwakho izinto eziye zamoshakala, because ke xa kusetshwa Ndetestone in reality ndiyakuthanda ukuthi uye wayicacisa into yokubana kwi-real life ezinto ziyenzeka. Ndiyazi into okokubana ke xa kuthethwa ngokwasemaphetheni some of these things ngangathi zenzeka smooth bathi xa begqibile ukusetsha kuphunywe, but afterwards sentsho ukuthi uyawufumanisa uba mhlawumbi ama-TV okanye izinto ziye zabekwa upside down okanye kwatsalwa nama-cardboard bangababe abantu bahlala etyotyombe kwancothulwa nezo zinto ezo because bekucinga ukuthi kunezinto ezibehind okanye mhlawumbi kukrazule nelo khawushi layo. Now I want to understand kumama ukuthi ingaba ifamily lena yona inamalungelo athina. I know ukuthi kukhona amalungelo aphuma for amapolisa ke, but now athina amalungelo alomntu kungenzeka manje akayifunyenwanga lento.
Yes. Tatulunga, let's talk about it. You'll listen on Helderberg, right?
Kunjalo mama.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. And we're moving off to KZN. MJ from Mubeko. MJ?
Yes, sir. Sabona.
Ninjani put?
Siyaphila njani?
Siyaphila.
Siyaphila.
Okay, uthini umbuzo baba?
Ngimbuzo wami ke la mina ngilalela inqubeko community radio station la.
Thank you so much to Mubeko.
Yes. So umbuzo wami uthi lana umangalelo uyaboshwa la kukhona nama eyewitness ubulala umuntu. Kodwa manje ecourt ugcine ephumile nje ekhishwa kungazi ukuthi abukhishwa kanjani ngoba belekelele abameli. So kukuphi ke mina lapho engicomplaina khona uma ngidinga ukuthi mhlawumbe icala kubuyele futhi enkantolo leyothetha.
All right. Uzolalela ku Nqubeko Community Radio mus.
Okay, ngiyabonga.
All right. Thank you so much. Nqubeko Community Radio FM under the stewardship of Host Nonhlanhla Ndlovu. Thank you so much in KZN. All right. Before we go to the Facebook before we were rudely interrupted. Okay. Before we go to the Facebook comment, let me start with you, Advocate. These ones, they actually need you on this one. The Tactical Response Team, a.k.a. Amaperet. One of those most fearful people, according to perception, that is to me, because normally we work with these guys. They are our colleagues. We know how they do their work. They do it very dedicatedly. But there's a lot of people who are actually very afraid of this particular tactical response team simply because they get anywhere, they kick butt. They kick anything that comes into place. But basically, it will be based on a certain mandate, of course. And then the other one will be the trust of working with police. I'm combining these two because, you know, these are two opposite sides of the coin, where you need to trust this police, but at some point, you might trust somebody who might just turn on you and kick you hard. Advocate?
Ntate wa tseba nna ke Maberete ha ke soka ke bona mo SAPS re na le unit e bitswang Maberete, but jwale ka o ibitsa or ke technical response team.
Yes.
Even if for tactical response team o ka ba military o ka ba mang ha ona tokelo ya ho shapa motho e mong. Ha ebeneng o crime buster, as they say it.
Yes.
You need to bust crime following protocol. Ha hona motho a dumeletsong assaulta motho e mong ke crime in itself yona eo. I know hona le batho ba bang ba tla re ho re thabile hore ba tlile ba tlo shapa ba ba ha ba nke ntho ha ba nke tjojo ha ba
kenya
thupa.
Yeah.
It's fine, but you know what, maybe let me take away the fine. It is not fine hore motho mong a otle motho e mong, ke crime in itself. Here le batla ho cleaner community ya lona. It's invisible policing. Work with the policing forums. Lena le tokelo eo, lena le opportunity eo ya hore le sebetse le batho bao. Ha hona motho ana le tokelo a shapa motho e mong, ke a re-emphasize ntho eno.
Yes.
And tshepahalo. Rena le botsotsi bo teng hohle. That is why rena le di programs tse leng hore re batla ho outroot corruption.
Yes. Corruption
across the board, from officing ya ne khoneng ya lawyer to office ya president. A re sebedisane mmoho jwale ka badula mmoho mona naheng ya rona.
Yes, ma'am.
Jwale he ntwane ya ntate ya wa Cape Town a etsa follow up. Ntate Lunga into endiyitshoyo apha ukuthi bendingajonganga qha I rights zabomthetho. Lo mntu lona xa efila ba violated and it damaged property yakhe. Andithi ngoba it's not in the business of the police when they come to do searches to damage your property. No baba ifumene lento bebeyifuna, your property has been damaged. So ona le tokelo ya hore o tsamaye o lo lodge civil claim, o kenye letter of demand, o ise mane monyakong wa SAPS kapa o ise mane ho state attorney's office mo tla bo bolela hore okay ho etsaetse tjena ka tsatsi le so ba sentse property yaka and property yaka is valued to this much, ki batla either replace property yaka or limpe value ya property yaka. So ke tokelo e motho ana leng yona. Even in the course and scope of business, Yamaponisa, they are not entitled to damage your property.
All right.
Yes, it's.
And in case also, just to add on what the advocate has said, there's institutions like Independent Police Investigation Directorate, IPID. How, if you happen to have been violated and all that kind of stuff, you go through those processes. And one of the issues is that many people lose hope simply because it is quite a very frustrating process. Because they feel that some of the government institutions, they have enough power to actually frustrate the processes. Now, how does, I'm going to put it to the DOJ as well to say, during the Access to Justice Week, a lot of people come with more frustrations than actually to say, great, thumbs up, you've done this. How do you work around to keep that hope burning? Osintibidi?
Thanks. I'm glad that you mentioned the inspectorate that deals with police complaints, that investigate what actually happened in the way where the police do not conduct themselves in a proper manner. I think for us, the Access to Justice Week also provides an opportunity that when we engage with the members of the community, we get to understand what is it that we might need to improve on, what is it that we're doing wrong, and then obviously it says to us, go back and do your homework, try to fill in the gaps, issues that were highlighted to be problematic in the system, because the intention, obviously, when we provide services, is to ensure that people receive the best that they need to receive in terms of the constitution or all the legislation that provides for their rights.
That's right.
But where, obviously when you implement, the intention may be good on paper, but the implementation thereof is where you realize that, these things are not necessarily coming together as you envisaged.
The human error part.
Yes, that happens. But the opportunity that I'm happy that we have this engagement with the members of the communities, we can then say, when we go back to our desk, when we strategize, we are able to say, hang on, we need to put 1, 2, 3 in place, because now the community have highlighted this challenge. They need more access. They need, to have the services that respond to their needs. You mentioned also the mobile justice system.
Yes.
I think that is a good idea. When when something that we maybe can pilot at one area to see how good it will roll out, and then obviously looking into the funding model that can be used, adopted to roll it out to other provinces, because I think for starters that will be a great initiative to to increase access as well.
That's right. Thank you, Austin Tibidi. And moving on to MJ's comments, and as well as the question, advocate MJ from Ngubeko FM. What can you say on that one?
Yes,
Wako Mnambiti.
ntate wa mnambithi a ke re motho ha tshwere o tla fumana bail o tliswa court.
Maybe try him in isiZulu or
isiZulu.
isiXhosa, maybe.
isiXhosa.
He's gonna be.
Kaloku tata umuntu xa ka ebanjiwe uzawuswa pha enkantolo. Unelungelo lokuthi within 48 hours ukuthi abekwe pha phambi komanki okanye phambi kwe-judge. And then kuzawuthethwa ke ukuba bona sisayozo investigator, but in the meantime uzawuhlala etrongweni. Kodwa ikhona elalungelo ukuthi uapply for ibail ukuthi ube phandle njengoba basabhizi bephenya icala lakho. So xa ubona umuntu ephandle sukuba mhlambe kwenzeke lonto leyo okanye kwenzeka ukuthi mhlambi uye wadedelwa pha emapoliseni kukho into ebizwa ipolice bail. It depends uba i-offense ibinto enjani, yabona. But if icase iba withdrawn mhlambi seyivele enkantolo uprosecutor bese kayibambile ya mhlambi ya withdrawa ke wena ungayazi njengoba mhlambi ubuyi-complainant, unalo ilungelo lokuthi uye pha eofisini ye-NPA uye kwi-senior prosecutor pha kula intoni enkantolo.
Yes.
And then utsho ba okay bekukho elicala kwenzeke intoni ngalo, unelungelo ukuthi akuphe imininingwane ukuthi kwenzeke intoni. If you are not satisfied uzawubhalela ke uDPP wase KZN. And uDPP was at KZN uhlala pha.
What's a DPP by the way?
Director ya public prosecution. Uye ke umuntu omkhulu kakhulu ofana nepremier yase KZN kulomnyango weNPA. Uzawubhalela pha uthi andikho satisfied ke ngendlela imatter yami yayenzwa ngayo pha kulankantolo. Ndicela usizo lwakho. Xa ungekho happy futhi ngaleyo sosinqumo eso uzawuba nelungelo lokuthi uchwechwele pha ku NDPP uShawn Abrams. Yes. Advocate Shawn Abrams umbhalele uthi yabona bendimbhalele nalo uDPP wakho wase KZN akandinikanga nto ndifuna uncedo kuwe. In terms of the constitution you are entitled to a response noncedo from uNDPP. So could depend ke uba icase be withdrawn okanye ibindawo yokuthi uphulo umuntu uyaphuma ngebail ngoba nayo unelungelo lokuphuma ngebail. I-constitution naye iyamprotecta in as much as iprotecta wonke umphakathi. You are innocent until proven guilty in this country.
Yes.
Now i-IPT kuthethwe ngayo apha. I-IPT ine mandate engathi different from ngela xesha besabizwa i-ICD.
Yes.
Apho bucomplaina ngayo yonke into if iphoyisa lifuna ukwenza into ufuna uyenze ngomsebenzi engayenza umsebenzi wakhe obusiya pha. Ngoko awusayiphaya usoya nje pha xa issue firstly corruption, systematic corruption okanye i-discharge firearm nabantu abashona in custody. That's their mandate.
Yes.
Kukho umnyango phanga phakathi kwe-SAPS edila ne-problem ezifana nokuthi if uyisa icase yakho iphoyisa lifuna uthatha icase yakho you have a right to approach the senior personnel apho kuleyo police station. If not uzawuya kwi-provincial office. Zikhona ii-numbers ozazifumana ezibhalwe pha e-police station.
Yes.
And then uzawukwazi uba uyaphi ke. Access to justice siyakunika ezo details ukuthi ungayaphi xa iproblem yakho injani. Ningalibali kaloku ba i-access it's not only to the indigent.
Yes.
Nabo abanemali siyabanceda.
Yes.
Ngoba lixesha lokuthi umphakathi ne-Department of Justice uyasebenza together to make sure ukuthi abantu bayayazi ukuthi nazi i-rights zam ndiyaphi for uncedo ndizawuthola nini ngubani ofuneka enze ntoni ayenze within what time frame.
All right. This is Let's Talk Justice. It's brought to you by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. It's supported by the Government Communications and Information System, as well as the partnership that comes with more than 85 community radio stations around the country. Thank you so much to, as I've been mentioning them based on the callers coming from various radio stations. And yeah, the issue of access as well is coming up from Facebook by Tsepiso Mohomuti, Ausin Tibidi. He's saying here, sometimes we tend to forget much about those people who stay in the farm establishments. You know, I for one have once stayed in something like that called Barberspan in Delareyville. You find that there's 6 houses. These 6 houses, it's people who are working for Mr. Visser. And somebody gets killed over there, or somebody steals something from that particular person. And now, Mr. Visser is saying, no one from outside will enter into my farm. Now, the people are here looking for some service from justice. And you happen to, officials from justice cannot enter that particular farm simply because Mr. Visser has the keys and he's got big wachters like that. And how do you assist such kind of people, and how do you outreach? How do you make outreaches to them? Because you see, our outreaches, they are determined by how many people you're going to get over there, Ausintibidi, isn't it?
Yes and no.
Yes.
But what I can say is when you refer to farm,
yes,
it's an issue that's quite close to my heart, because I remember at some point we did visit such places in the Western Cape.
Yes.
And it was very disheartening. The story that you relate is quite practical and true. And what I can say at this point, that farm owner has no right. Obviously, the police, we can demand access into such a kind of place. And what we like also, people are aware that they know where to report such behavior. So people like that farmer that you mentioned have been brought to book. They were reported, and the law has dealt with them harshly, as they deserve to have been, because so we take even the Department of Social Development to make sure that those kids the pensioners and stuff like that. Body ID, Home Affairs, we managed to reach them. But obviously, as I said, for example, the caller that spoke before, I think it was Patco.
Yes.
Who mentioned the issue of us only availing the services only in the mornings. That I like the idea that maybe we should look into after hours, accessing the people, obviously, during the day, because they have to work. And then also weekend is also a possibility that we are very grateful for that suggestion. We'll definitely take it on board. And also he wanted information about the services that we have in Mdanza in the Eastern Cape.
Yes, in the Eastern Cape.
We touched a bit on, and because how it works is the regions, because we're based at national office, when we communicate with the regional offices, justice has regional offices in all the provinces. So our office in the Eastern Cape will sit down and say, based to the stats that we have, these are the areas that we need to touch on, because maybe in the last month's program we were not able to access them. So this month they said we're going to go to Mdantsane, we want to go to Umtata, PE, Queens and Zwelisha.
Yes.
This is our focus for now. So obviously maybe in another month or so they will target other areas. So the idea is there. We are aware that there are areas that we need to really put more emphasis on, because it doesn't help. We always concentrate in the metros and where people now are already having information.
Yes.
It's about, we want to now spread the word as far as possible, so that everybody, wherever you are, Nongoma, Ntuzuma, Mlazi, anywhere in all the corners of this country,
yes,
everybody is aware of what is their rights are and how to vindicate, and also be responsible about them interacting with other members of the community.
Yeah, and just extending on that one quickly, Ausintibidi, farm dwellers as well as farm workers, now we're getting into your tribal authorities, where there's like your serious tribal authority, where I know in Limpopo, because I work with many of the radio stations around there, you need to introduce tribal authority before you could even do any work that you do around there. So let's talk to that one in support of the farm issues, and also the farm access to justice and all that stuff.
Maybe you mentioned that one. Last year we went to Nongoma, and because we public officials, we understand the law, and we understand how those communities live under traditional custom. So obviously we had to knock at the traditional house,
yes,
request a meeting. We were turned back. We were told to come on such a date, so that the Khosi and his head people were there availing themselves and gave us a hearing to, to present our proposal. So we do all that because it doesn't make any sense for us. We will not have access. Number one, the people won't show because he must now call his people and say, justice.
He gives a go ahead.
Yes, you know. So it will not benefit us in any way to have a meeting in that space where he's not, first of all, because we want buy-in, isn't it?
Yes.
The traditional authority we respected as part of a key stakeholder in us delivering justice and promoting the rule of law.
Yes.
So we always try to engage with them, and most of them are very receptive. They're welcoming and willing to work with us because they understand the issues that we want to address and the issues that also troubling them because it doesn't, we need to work together. It's a partnership that we're trying to build.
It is. 0800-142-446. Let's just take two last callers, and I'm going to ask very humbly from the radio stations to not shut us off at 5 past. At least give us 5 more minutes so that we are able to actually finish things accordingly and properly, because you see, access to justice in the land, it's a very long road for people who actually are not the usual suspects of literacy. People who can read, people who can, and to some of them, they basically listen to Advocate right now and Osim TBD and say, thanks God these people are actually saying it ngomlo. You understand? Because they cannot actually read it for themselves. We still have those kind of people. So give us 5 minutes and I promise you it's going to be worth it. So let's get George from Northwest. Do we have George? Mjijo?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how are you, George? How come Poletsa fela ka pele o nkutlwile hore ke kopile di radio station? A go ire yalo lo ena tlhera.
Ifile re dira sentesiwa go khoto after na go ile go ba ka cassette anybody type of office.
Era
information we clear yang cassette. Ona go patele go kgona go clear ka information ga go mo. Ke le batho cassette o e bata. Ke clear ka tlekinga. Ke yone la petso ka.
Ke go tlile ra o tla utlwela mo radiong akere. Did you is there something that you might want to follow on before he leaves? Nothing. All right. Thank you, Morena George.
Thanks, brother.
Okay. Bralebo from Aliwal North.
Dumela ntate.
Le ka Morena?
Ke a phela.
A o ke phetse.
Ka pelinyana ke na le potso e le nngwe.
Ka pejana ntate.
Dankie. Ke le boa go lo ke potso ka ke na go bina le motho a kileng a hata koloi ya ka a tshwatla windscreen. Ha peta wa hata windscreen I'm sorry sa ka mbulela case. Ga toka court ka pele ga ya court re ya court a re batla we setlish. I'm telling you, after that ke a utla case o hadelwa ka June ke a fitla detective a re ho tswa a warrant of arrest ke tlo kwallwa ke botsa kwallwa for what to tshwara hla court a ke ya umtshutshisi ke botsa what is happening exactly, what o sa le ho rungwa motho yana a re o patetse accounting ya ka chelete ba nitse ka setlish I patele 500 each and every month, but up until now there is nothing which would a warrant of arrest for Muchino ban isali arula die proof of payment or updates accounting yaga ya usinya yaga. So nekim sorry season. So how can I be assisted there? Because this is a case that I have opened and then Kabuel mchuchisi I'm partially theory Muchino kabatwa bafumano, but I was shocked automatically to anexa hal khutlela dinyeho. There was a warrant of arrest today. Kitabangelo tekalan community radio mren.
Morena ka ke le boile haholo.
Thank you.
2 questions are there. A case that's hanging. I would like to believe Lebo is feeling like his case is hanging somewhere where he doesn't even have any. He explored all the avenues, but it was up to the police to do their own work and all that kind of stuff. Advocate?
Well, ntate o bua ka firstly hore na di cassette o khona o di thola.
Yes, the recording.
First, we're entitled to the recording ya di proceedings.
Yes.
Fela, the last time I checked, wa patala. But utla khona ho bua le hona le stenographer ko court, hona le batho ba di pick up ang di cassette tseo, and then system tse ntjha hona jwale ha se cassette ke disc.
Yes.
Where it's available almost immediately to you.
Technology.
Now also o patala now for the transcripts, but go High Court ka hopola ne re tshwantse o ye o request a transcript o tla patala because the outsourcing the services tseo ha di etswe internally.
Is it public information?
Eba public information ka hore ke court.
Okay.
The court di bulehile. Anyone who entitled to kena ka court alo mamela sa se mamelang. That's why le harere how na le case 18 they become public documents. Anyone can go and request the transcript or request the dipampiri tsa court ha batla bona re case tsa maile jwang.
Okay.
Jwale ha o bua ka case ya hao ene e kene court la ba batla o settle motho na so ha ke tsebe hore na ene le hore ne le tlosa court le batla o etsa ntwe bitswang alternative dispute resolution na and ha ke re hangata batho ba rata hore okay ho lokile re tla bua ka ntle ho court ma o ska le sa le bale hore court ile ya qala ho ba le case number ho ba le date le tla khutlang ka yona so ha ntse le bua settlement ya lona wena o so ntse o dula fatshe bohlomong be le bala ka tsatsi le latelang la ho lohla ha kwana court le sa withdraw a case so ka hore o no sa hla ha court ha o sa hla ha court obviously magistrate ka hara criminal court o tla issue warrant ya arrest. But if funny ena ya hae ka hore jwale ka complainant ke a makala hore ho why ho na le warrant of arrest ho yena hore why a sa hla ha court ha ke tsena ho etsa hetseng mono fela ha ile hore ke ne ba settle matter ya ba wa dumela ha o settle matter prosecutor wa eng ka o itlisa ho magistrate a re okay ke tsena di details tsa batho bana ba batla o settle matter ka tsena motho na o plead guilty and then utla fumanwa molato and then ke ena tshelde atla o patalang yona ho ya ka tumellano yeno o ska le bala hore prosecutor ha se yone tlanne e o latellisa tšhelete ya hao wena o tla tshwantse o ipone e ba a civil judgment jwala kere se betsa jwala ka civil judgment o na le motho na le sekoloto ho wena o tshwantse o tla tshwantse wena o e latelle ho na le bothatanyana bo re bufumaneng le rona jwale ka NPA around di tsona dintho tse tshwana le tsena tsa ho settle di case outside court tse leng hore ne se bile di kene court so re na le di processes tse re di beyang in place hona jwale hore ho be le tsela e leng hore wa tseba hore process ke efeng e tshwantse e latile for di case di feng e jwalo.
Okay. All right. On the last note, there was George as well. Yes. George was talking more about... Yes. Please speak to him about that. I think it's more of a law issue. We'll speak the operations with those in
But I agree.
You can also, if you want to get in on that one, I'll see, without me having to actually...
No, I think the advocate has covered that one on the transcript.
Yes.
That indeed the transcribers are not necessarily court official. They're not court officials. So transcribing services come at a cost.
Yes.
So I can't, unfortunately, offhand now indicate the tariffs that are involved. But obviously the judge can access court that is closest to him and just find out. Because that will be important for him to get the transcripts if he requires them.
That's right. Unfortunately, so much to talk about, so little time. I wish there was no time in the world so that we can just go on here forever and up until the end of the year. And then we can only break when it's Christmas, I guess. But anyway, your last words, advocate, particularly looking at three things. Access to justice, women, as it is a Women's Month, and children. For me, that's the most important right now.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Firstly, access. Mumamedi ke kopa le tsebe hore na
I'm so sorry, but we just have to finish it properly. For each and every event, there's a program, right?
Yes.
And there's somebody who says thank you to everyone. So we are at the thank yous now.
We're at the thank you stage. Access, batho ba heso e tshwanetse e be selemo kaofela motsotso le motsotso le ba teng batho di teng mekgatlo ka ntle ka kwana e thusang e mong ya yona ke South African Women Lawyers Association. O tla ba bona ka dikipa tsa bona tse pink tse ngotsweng established 2006 and bankile access to justice as ngwana wa bona ya ba mo ratang haholo. Basadi le bana ba tla accessa di services ba thusehe ha ona le di issues tsa ntlo di maintenance ntho tse jwalo ka hore dintho tsa family law ke yona impactang haholo ho bomme le bana.
Yes.
E seng hore re lebala le bontate ba ntse ba le bohlokwa ka hore ke bontate ba rona ke bo abuti ba rona ke di husband tsa rona ke di boyfriend ka jwalo jwalo. Ke le tsebisang hore hona le presidential hotline ke kopa hore hleng batho ba South Africa le sebedise presidential hotline ke mo ka phounelang teng ka any problem ona le yona. Hona le batho ba beilweng mono ba tswang kaofela di departments tsa South Africa ba kgonang ho bona hore bothata ba hao bo tshwantse bo lahlelwe departmenteng efeng ebile ra monitoriwa ebile ra measure on that hore tshwantse re tse sure hore re arabile di problems tsa lona e le be re arabile jwang re khutlela back to the president ra mo jwetsa hore ke ka tsela ena e re lokiseng ditaba tse bohloko tsa lona le kgone ho utlwa hore lena le access ho justice re utlwile ka di access tse leng hore di rural areas re tla sheba re shebisisa haholo next year le tla re bona re le di farm le tla re bona re le hona mo ezigotini zase KZN nizosibona khona.
Together we are improving South Africa, and that's exactly what it says. Ausi Ntibidi, the last words, and I know before we go to the president, you also have your own line, right?
Yes.
Yes. Please talk to us about all those before we go to the president, because now you might find that it's something quite very easy by the department to and now we're complicating it by taking the space of that particular person who's complaining about grants at the presidency.
I want to also just start by saying that from the minute you enter a court, there's a court manager.
Yes.
So whatever dissatisfaction that you may encounter, you need to ask for the court manager so that he or she can be told by a complainant and to be able to address it. Yes, there is a toll-free line that you can report all justice services. Whether it's positive, we also would like to hear compliments sometimes, so it encourages us to work much harder. I also want to say that in this Women's Month, we not only, as people normally say, that when you empower women, you empower the entire nation.
Yes.
So the idea is to, yes, we're seeking to speak to women, but we know that the women are the ones who are anchoring the families together jointly with men. So let us join our hands together and increase our outreach and human rights education to all members of our country.
Bomme, thank you so very much for availing yourselves. I wish I had more time, but unfortunately I have to even apologize now. I stole 2 minutes. Thank you so much. I'm not going to talk much. It's been great. Thank you to Linda Mazibuko, thank you to Shenin Madu, and thank you to the whole crew of Let's Talk Justice. Till we meet next time, Abore.